today let's start thinking about speed, probable speed. As I told you yesterday that what is the probable speed and what is Maxwell's law of distribution, and how we with the help of Maxwell's law of distribution we can explain the probable speed, average speed and other factors of the gas molecules. So as you know that now gas molecules obey Maxwell-Boltzmann statistical law, and with the help of that statistical law there are some of the distributions law are there, and one of the distribution law I just told you yesterday, that was the speed distribution law. And with the help of speed distribution law we can calculate probable speed, average speed and mean square speed. So what is the condition for probable speed? As I told you that suppose we have 14 molecules, and in that 14 molecules 8 molecules are tries to attain same speed, then we can say that most of the molecules are trying to gain the same speed. So that's why that speed will be particular, that speed will be the most probable speed, means most occurring speed. So that is the concept of most probable speed, means speed for which number of molecules in the system are maximum. Clear? Because maximum molecules are occurring that speed. And next what is the average speed or mean speed? So as you know that simple because they are possessing Brownian motion, they are possessing zigzag motion, random motion, so we cannot calculate exactly their velocities. So exact calculations we take their mean velocity. So suppose we in any system, in any container, gas is infilled, and as the gaseous molecules collide with other molecules and they change their direction, again they change their direction with the collision, and with the collision of wall they again change their direction. So we are seeing that here is the motion is in zigzag pattern or random motion are there. They are continually changing their directions, and due to their change in direction obviously their velocity will vary from one value to another, means there will be the variation in their velocity due to change in their momentum. So you can easily say that from here gaseous molecules don't have a single speed, they moves in the gas with various speed, and that speed has a variation that can be continuous variation or discontinuous. So Maxwell first tried to explain these variations, means what will be the variation range of velocity for which velocity or for which speed most of the molecules are trying to occur that speed. So according to that he observed the curve, as you have seen yesterday that curve was like this type, and this curve was bent wider in the right side and narrow in the left side. So it means that most of the molecules are trying to occur first this at this end, and is this V. Okay. So we are seeing that for this value of velocity the number of molecules per unit volume is maximum. So we can say that this velocity is occurred by most of the molecules. So this is known as most probable speed, which is denoted by CMP. So simple, this factor was clear to you. And with the so most of the molecules have tendency to attain a single velocity, that is known as most probable speed. So as you have seen that in the left side of most probable speed, the speed distribution or number of molecules are less than the right hand side. So with this curve we can say a lot of things about the velocity of gas molecules and behavior of gas molecule. So Maxwell first tried to explain it with its distribution law. That distribution law is given by this formula, and with the help of this formula we can calculate what will be the value of most probable speed, because at this speed as the number of molecules are maximum, so we can use the condition of maxima and minima here, and with the help of that we can calculate what will be the value of CMP, and we have obtained the value of CMP, that was root 2 kT by m. So in the same manner we can also calculate the value of average speed and the root mean square speed for the gas molecules. So as you know that average speed or mean speed is what? That is the simple average of all the speeds that all gaseous molecules are doing. So suppose that N1 molecule is in the system, there are capital N molecules, and there are, suppose that N1, N2, N3 and N molecules here, and if we add all these molecules, then we will get some N, the addition of, suppose N1 is positioning velocity v1, N2 is positioning velocity v2, and then is positioning velocity vn, and finally this whole gas system is positioning velocity v. So we can calculate easily what will be the value of average speed with the help of these data, and also with the help of this equation easily we can calculate average value of this. So what is the average speed? See, average is given by 1 by n v nv dv. So this value gives us the value of average speed, as this is the whole speed of molecules, and means this is the sum of speed of molecules, and this, if we divided this by the number of molecules, then we will get the average speed. So with the help of this formula we can calculate what will be the value of average speed, and that comes out to with kT/m. So I think there is no confusion regarding to this, and if we have the average speed, then we can easily calculate what will be the value of square speed and also mean square speed. So with the help of mean square speed we can calculate root mean square speed. So with the help of this data we can also calculate root mean square speed, and that is comes out to be CRMS value is kT/m. So this is the values of these three waves in case, these three speeds in case of Maxwell's distribution law. I think there is no confusion regarding to all these things. So what is the value of this and this? So finally using Maxwell distribution law we can calculate average speed, root mean square speed and most probable speed by using this formula for the Maxwell distribution law. So if this function is clear to you, then we can easily say that statistical law or Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution law, that is very useful to calculate speeds of the gaseous molecules, and also to predict the information about their variation of a number of molecules with temperature, with velocity, with kinetic energy, with momentum. So we can also explain all these variations with the help of number of molecules. So this data is useful there, and I think there is, sorry guys, here should be 3 kT/m. So finally with the help of these equations we can also tell this what will be, we can easily say that CMP is greater than average or less than average. So we can calculate all these things. So I think there is no confusion regarding to this section now. I've explained all the things regarding to statistical law and Maxwell distribution law yesterday. So then I think today there is no need to mention it again. You have cleared what it is. So today let's see what is degree of freedom. So basically when we try to explain any system or any gas molecules, then always we talk about the dimension in which the system is containing or gases and molecules are containing. So containers are usually we are using that is 3-dimensional container. So what is the means, how can we know that when we have different gaseous molecules, then how many coordinates are needed to specify them? So that is defined by a concept, that is the concept of degree of freedom. system, any particle has an independent variable that is used to specify that. So degree of freedom, the definition of degree of freedom is simple, that the minimum coordinates needs to specify any system that is known as degree of freedom for that system. Suppose that we have one molecule in the space, then or one particle in the space like this. So how can we specify its position? So we have the formula to specify its position. Suppose we are taking any inertial frame to specify its position, or any fixed frame. So this is origin. So we can measure this distance, this position vector r, and this position vector r is given by the magnitude of this position vector is given by this, like this. So here we need minimum 3 coordinates x, y and z to specify the position of this value. So, because if the space is, obviously you know that our Earth system is 3-dimensional. So if there is any point in our space, then we need to specify at this particle, we need to specify its position of the particle, because without measuring its position you cannot measure its velocity, its acceleration and other terms. So first term we need, that is the need of its position, and for that we always take a fixed frame of reference, inertial frame of reference to measure it, and this inertial frame can be at rest, that can be at in the motion, and that can be specified by the relativistic mechanics. So I'm not going to actually explain that here, but first we need this thing, and if this point is needed to be specified or described, or we want to know the knowledge about this point, then first we need 3 coordinates, that is x, y and z, and these are the minimum coordinates that are needed to specify this point. So these 3 coordinates are known as degree of freedom. So if our question is that if we ask how many degree of freedom are needed to specify a single particle, that is the 3. So minimum, at least we need minimum 3 coordinates to specify a single particle in the space. With means if there are any two values, like we have 2 coordinates x and y, we don't know about anything about the z, then we cannot tell everything about this particle. We cannot specify it whether this particle is in at any surface or it is situated in any space. So first, if suppose that it is situated in space and we know only 2 coordinates x and y, then how can we specify, how can we explain its position and other property? So first we need at least these 3 terms, these 3 coordinates to specify it completely, and that 3 value is known as degree of freedom. So I think degree of freedom is now clear to you. This is simply the minimum coordinates to needs to specify completely a system, that is known as degree of freedom. So here at least to specify its position completely we need these 3 coordinates. So that's why for any particle, single particle, the minimum coordinates that are needed to specify, that is 3. So in this case we can see that the degree of freedom for one particle is 3. We can also, if we here we are talking about gas molecules, or simple we can say that gases are, as you know, that can be monatomic, diatomic, triatomic. So according to that, their degree of freedom can also be changed. So first, suppose that if we have monatomic gas, so there is, if gas is monatomic, then the gaseous molecules are means they are made up of one molecule. So if there is only one molecule, one atom, actually monatomic, there is one atom, then definitely that atom can be specified simply by these 3 coordinates x, y and z. So for monatomic atom, that there is the degree of freedom needed is, that is 3. So I think that is clear. Next, if suppose that we have 2 particles in this space, like in this system, if we have 2 particles, this particle Q is also. So separately, how many degree of freedoms are needed to specify these particles? That are 6. 3 particles are needed to specify the position of P, 3 particles are needed to specify the position of Q. So finally we need in this case 6 degree of freedom to specify this system. But suppose that we have a value that we know the distance between these two particles. Suppose we are taking the example of diatomic molecules. So diatomic molecules are connected by some bonds, and if 2 atoms are connected by a bond, then their bond length can be calculated. So if we know one value of space in here, means we know the one coordinate, then there will be less coordinate. Means we need now only 5 coordinates to specify this system of 2 particles. So I think there is no confusion. Degree of freedom is minimum coordinate that is needed to specify the system completely, and these all coordinates should be independent. There is a condition that all the coordinates should be independent. If there are any coordinate that is dependent, that is known, then that is not called the degree of freedom. That is only degree of freedom is that the minimum independent coordinates that are needed to specify this system. And here we know already one coordinate, so that one coordinate is known, so that is not independent, that is dependent between on these 2 systems, 2 particles. So this is known as constraints. The system, condition or coordinate that is already known, that is known as constraints. So we have, for the calculation of degree of freedom, we have to minus that constraint to calculate the value of degree of freedom. So finally, degree of freedom for this system of 2 particles are like to specify this particle P, we need 3 particles. To specify this particle Q, you need 3 coordinates. So finally we need 6 coordinates to specify this system, and if there is no relationship between P and Q, these 2 points are known, then for that case there will. So if there is no relationship between these 2 particles is known, suppose that if 2 atoms are there and those 2 atoms are not bonded by any bond, then for that case, to specify that 2 atoms, we need minimum coordinate that are 6, because there is no constraint in that system. There is no relationship between that 2 points are known. Then in that case, the degree of freedom will be 6, because we need at least 6 variables to specify the system, and all these 6 variables are independent to each other. So that's why here the degree of freedom will be 6. But if there is a relation known between them, like in case of diatomic atom, a bond length between them is known. So, and also if we know that in this system of 2 particles, if the distance between these 2 particles is known, then there is a one value we can calculate. That value can be the value of x, y, either z, any value can be there. So at least one value is known here. So if one value is known already, so that is not independent variable. So for the calculation for the degree of freedom, we need independent variable. So we have to minus this one, and here the degree of freedom will be 5. So at least minimum 5 coordinates are needed to specify the system of 2 particles or diatomic molecules. Means if we know at least a relationship between them, or single, if I'm saying that diatomic molecules, then definitely that 2 molecules will be connected by some bond. Then in that case we need 5 coordinates, 5 independent variables to specify these types of system. So I think simple, what is degree of freedom and what is its importance, that is clear to you. It is very important because at least it tells us that how many coordinates are needed to know about that system, because first we should have the primary knowledge about that system. Means because without knowing its position or other things, we cannot specify any other values, or simple if we want to know about that system, at least we must have to know that how many coordinates or how many variables are needed to understand that system, and that understanding can be given by this simple degree of freedom. Means if we have the knowledge about degree of freedom, then we can understand that at least these number of variables are needed to specify that system. So in the, suppose we have again the case of triatomic molecules or system of 3 particles, then what can be in this case? As the number of molecules or number of particles, number of atoms will increase, there will be cases to obtain degree of freedom will be increased, and that depends on the orientation of the particles or system. So suppose that if these 3 particles are situated as linearly, if these are situated linearly, suppose in starting we don't know anything, any relationship between these 3 particles, means these 3 particles are far away and we don't know any distance between them or any point. So definitely these 3 points will need 9. One is at least one particle needed to specify by 3 system, 3 variables. This particle will also need to specify by 3 variables, and here will be also 3 variables. So finally the degree of freedom for this independent system of 3 particles, that is 9. Now if we know the relationship between these 3 particles, means because we are talking about the system of 3 particles, then there can be relationship between them, or we are talking about triatomic molecules. So in the case of triatomic molecules, 2 arrangements can be possible. So suppose first arrangement is that all gas molecules are oriented in the linear way, and if there are 3 molecules and these are connected by this, means this molecule or this atom, simple triatomic molecules we are talking about. So these 2 atoms are connected by each other and these 2 atoms are connected by each other. So in this case we know 2 variables at least. We know what is the value of bond length between them and what is the value of bond length between them. So at least 2 values for the knowledge of this system, triatomic system, is known. So here 2 is known as constraints, because these 2 variables are already known by us. So what will be the independent variable that are needed to specify? So we have to minus these 2 and finally we will get here 7. So at least 7 independent variables that are needed to specify this system when 3 particles are arranged in linear way. So if they are arranged in this way, then we need at least 7 system of variables or independent variables, and then in this case we can say that if triatomic gas is arranged in linear way, then degree of freedom for that will be 7. Means at least we need 7 independent variables to specify this system, and already 2 variables are known here. But if these 3 particles are arranged in this way, suppose they are arranged in at a triangular form, means they are arranged at the edge, corners of the triangle, then what will be in this case? Like they are arranged like this. So in this case, as we are saying that there are 3 quantity that is known. So 3 variables are known, means bond length between these 2 atom is known, bond length between these 2 are known, and bond length between these 2 known. So here 3 variables are known. In this case only there were 2 relationships, but here there is 3 relationships, and that 3 relationships are known. So that's why here 3 will be the constraints for the system. And to calculate the degree of freedom for triatomic molecules which are arranged in this way, so in this case what will be the degree of freedom? That will be total number of independent variable when there is no relationship minus this constraint, and finally the value of degree of freedom, that will be in case of this 6. So if there are 3 variables that are known, and that already I have told you that depends on their orientation, means how they are oriented in the space, means they are arranged linearly or they are arranged like this triangular form. So if they are arranged linearly, then in this case two variable is known, means there is two constraint in the system, and the degree of freedom here that will be 7, means 7 coordinates are needed here to specify the system. But when they are arranged in the triangular form, then here 3 values of the system that is known, means we have 3 constraints in the system. So then this we need less number of independent variable to specify this system, that is 6. So if we know the greater number greater number of relationship between molecules or system, then that will decrease the difficulty of calculation, and also the number of independent variables that will be decreased if we know the relationship in the greater way. So you can say that if constraint of the system increases, means knowledge about their relationship that increases, then the degree of freedom will decrease, means the less number of variables that will be independent, and that will be that we have to know about the system to understand it. So I think concept of degree of freedom and how can we calculate it for diatomic, triatomic, monatomic atom, that is all clear to you. So how can we calculate it with the help of this knowledge of degree of freedom? So degree of freedom helps us to know about gas molecules, if either the gas is monatomic, diatomic, triatomic. So how the gases and how they are composed, they are arranged, and due to their arrangement how many relationships we can know, and if we are knowing that relationship, then how many coordinates are needed to specify that system dependently. So means for complete knowledge, for complete specification, how many coordinates are needed, that knowledge can be provided by the degree of freedom. So that's why this topic is very important. I think this importance of this topic is clear to you. One by one I am just telling to you what is needed to know about the gas molecules. If we want to know the behavior of gas molecules and phenomena possessed by the gas molecules, then we first have to understand these basic things like degree of freedom, and as I have told you, distribution law, statistical law, and other things. So these are the basic things that are needed to know first to understand the behavior of gases. So I think in the case of kinetic theory of gases, as we are talking about their properties, like what is the gas law for to explain the ideal gas, and also how can we explain the behavior of real gases with the help of ideal gas, and I have just shown you so many curves regarding to that. And there we have seen that at high pressure and at low pressure and high temperature, real gases can behave like the ideal gas, and such types of things are possible here. And also after that we have derived the expression for pressure exerted on the walls of the container, and with the help of that we have derived a number of laws there. So I think all these things are clear, and later just I have told you the connection of thermodynamics with the statistical law, with the quantum mechanics, and I have just gave a glimpse of statistical mechanics, statistical physics for here to understand you. So statistical physics actually gives us information about the elementary particles, gases, molecules, and other things, and we can understand all these things easily with the help of their laws. And that law is specified by some, means they are specifically for some of the particles. Means some particles can specify different by different laws, some can be by different law. So gas molecules are specified by Maxwell-Boltzmann law of statistical mechanics, and with the help of Maxwell-Boltzmann law of statistical mechanics we can understand the behavior of gases there, and how can we calculate the number of molecules in the gas. Suppose there is a gas in the container, then how can we calculate, like there it is a room and here air is present. So how can we calculate what will be the number of molecules of air, means gas molecules are that are present in this space. So we can also calculate that with the help of Maxwell's law of distribution. Means if we know already, means some of the things if we know, suppose like we know about their velocity, or we know about their momentum, kinetic energy and other things, then we can calculate easily what will be the number of molecules present in that room. So means this room. So we can also calculate with the help of statistical mechanics. So statistical mechanics basically tells us about the number of molecules or presence of system molecule, or absence of molecules and other things like that. So we can understand all these things. So I think here just today I have told you about average speed, mean square speed, most probable speed, and also this degree of freedom. I think that is all clear to you. So this concept of degree of freedom is also, actually in case of statistical mechanics we need 6 coordinates to specify any system. So because in case of a particle, if we are talking about this x, y, z only, it means that we are taking this particle at rest. So because position, when we can measure the position can be measured when this particle will be at rest, and this is the position vector for this particle. And if this particle is moving, so in moving condition obviously it will have this speeds in all direction. So this particle will have also position and speed. So if we want to know everything about this system, then we must need here 6 coordinates if this system is in the dynamic state. If it is in the static state, then in this case we need only 3 coordinates. So degree of freedom in that case only 3. But if system is in dynamic state, so for that case we need at least 6 degree of freedom. So statistical mechanics take it broadly, and here just I am giving you a glimpse about the degree of freedom. So completely if you want to specify the system, then we need at least 6 coordinates to specify the one single particle. So minimum, if that particle is static, then in that case we need 3 degree of freedom to specify that. So I think the concept about degree of freedom, that is totally clear to you. So in next classes let's see some next factors. So today let's end the class here guys. Thank you.